You had it in your pocket, remember? Remember I gave it to you to put in your pocket? I gave it to you to put in your pocket. Let me have it. Have your tongues and your cigarettes. Oh, never mind, found it. Listen, be patient, my friend. Be patient. You people need to relax. And by you people, I mean G Prince. But hello, everybody. Hello. I am ready to get the show started, and I'm sorry I'm a little couple like an hour or so later than I wanted to go. If you saw Jay Prince's stream, or if you didn't, go catch it now, or not now, later after I finish my show. But we were outside, and we just happened to run into some people that kept me outdoors longer than I thought I would be. So sorry again, y'all, for that. But we shall get into it. I hope everybody is doing great today. I hope that you guys are enjoying your Saturday evening. I know I am. The sun's out, buns out, all types of good stuff. But I wanted to do this conversation because one, it's been a while since I've done a Dangers of Delusion of that series. Also, y'all heard me over here telling the kids to lay down. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It happens all the time. But that being said, I hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday. And I wanted to get this conversation off the ground. Oh, sorry, not P. Diddy today. Sorry, you guys. We will be talking about a bandit, but it does not happen to be P. Diddy today. So catch me on another one for that. But today I wanted to talk about a fairly new crime. It looks like this just happened maybe a week or a week and a half ago. Not too long ago, but a man ended up going on a spree where three women were, at the other end of his firearm. All three of their lives were ended. And, I just remember a couple weeks or maybe a month or so ago, maybe a little bit more than that now, where I just was like looking back on the femicide conversation, especially Black femicide. And seeing this story, where three Black women were all deleted. One of them happened to be the mother of the person in question who did it. I can't believe that I still admire the Bayou Flora. What are you talking about, Bandit? Go to sleep. But, clearly the issue of Black femicide is still, a very big issue. It's still a big problem. But I wanted to come at it from the angle of this story. Now, my thumbnail was really just to get you all here. We are going to talk about the bandit in question, but I'm not really here to drag a LGBT bandit who was in the closet. For me, it's really not about that. For me, it's highlighting the fact that we can get up all day, we can gaslight Black women for feeling the way that they do about the community. But what you won't see a lot of us doing is covering these stories of Black femicide. And this one really hit me because I've been seeing a lot of cases of matricide, people deleting their mother or father, both parents, whatever the case may be. But this one, not only did he delete his mother, but he deleted his cousin, whom he was allegedly having a relationship, as well as the lover of his ex. So it was a very just sick situation that I did want to cover for a number of reasons. One of them being to highlight the issue of femicide that's still very strong going on in the Black community, but also to talk about this crisis that we have, right? And the reason why I titled it Dangers of Delusion is because a lot of women and things will ignore this issue that we have in the community, which is that there are a lot of undercover bandits, and they will do absolutely anything to keep their secret. That's how, behind in the times we are in terms of letting people feel free in their sexuality. I mean, obviously there's still a lot of places and people who don't believe in that, but this man went ahead and just deleted three Black women effortlessly. So I wanted to cover this story. I'm going to cover the video as well because they cover it. But I wanted to do an article first because I want to make sure we have the facts, like what's actually going on. This just happened on the 27th. Or I guess this article was updated on the 27th, but this just happened recently. So a lot of the information is still developing. So let me start with the article. But hey, Scar Beauty, how you doing, girl? Hey TMKC, I hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday today. I am. I just got inside. I will be inside for a few more hours and then we'll be back out on the truck. Finally getting to enjoy some good weather and to sell some food. Hey Carmen, how you doing, girl? I've been seeing your content. Looks great. Can't wait to see more. But I'm going to start, like I said, with the article in this situation because a lot of the information here is still developing. Um, what the heck? All right. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get things together here, but let me share my screen first. We're going to start with the article because, like I said, everything is still developing. This is a very new story. And, you know, it was very disturbing, I would say. They're saying that he went on a rampage, which kind of just includes doing, he put you to work, I'm missing it. Girl, I'm not working. I'm there for moral supports and financial supports, as in handling the finances. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it, though. It's a lot of fun. Thank you, my last show got almost. I'm glad, girl. That's how it starts. You start putting out your own content and you truly enjoy it. But yes, I am just there for moral and financial support. Financial, as in collecting the finances. So yes. But all right, let me start with this story. Just give me 1 second, y'all. I'm just gonna really quickly go ahead and grab something. Sorry, just quickly, because you know we just came from outside, so I'm trying to adjust to the temperature in here. Get me a little drink, like juice, and get it popping. JP laying down the law. You guys are just saying stuff, and I don't know why you guys are in here trying to reach G Prince. But anyways, let's continue. So. This was in Manatee, Florida, I believe. Manatee County, I'm sorry, and in Florida. And they talk about this man as being a significant danger. Records show Manatee County triple murder suspect's troubled past. So not only was he struggling with his sexuality, but he was dealing with some trauma. Or I'm not even going to say I'm not going to go that far, right? I don't want to sympathize with any the leaders or anything like that. But, you know, he had a troubled past. He had some issues of, you know, seemed like he had some suicidality and things like that. I know that's not a friendly word, but, you know, we have to say that. But basically, prior to this happening, there was a lot of red flags. A lot of red flags that we can sit and blame the police, you know, why he wasn't in jail. But I think the issue is similar with the community. I think a lot of people, you know, we see the signs, we see the cues that someone might be in a mental crisis, but because of our beliefs in the community, a lot of the times we ignore it. We try to hope that it'll go away on its own. You know, we don't seek resources because we don't want to put people in bad situations and things like that. So he had a record, but let's get into it. So Javante Bryce, the man accused of deleting 3 Manatee County women before being deleted in a shootout with Florida deputies, had a history of DV and mental health issues, according to court records. Deputies say Bryce deleted and viewed and deleted his mother at Motel 6 near Interstate 75 on Monday night. So that was pretty much how the rampage started. We're going to obviously read the details of it, but he was on the move after this first deletion, who was his mother. So a man accused of deleting 3 Manatee County women before being deleted in a shootout with Florida deputies had a history of DV and mental health issues, according to to court records. Detectives with the Manatee County Sheriff's Office are still investigating why 28-year-old Javante Bryce, right? 28. I mean, this man is my age. Okay, so me and him are the same age, and he had already had a long history of DV, of other crimes that he committed against women and his family and things like that. But he was also very young. He allegedly, that's what we're going to state until the case has been proven a little bit, but allegedly he pew-pewed and deleted his mother, who was Titanisha Scott, his cousin Sequoia Starquez Jonquilla Bryce, and his ex-girlfriend's partner, who she seems to just sort of be someone who was caught in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong devious bandit around. And her name was Chantel Carter. She was 31. And this was 3 separate shootings in one day. So it's kind of sad. It seems like he was obviously in crisis, but the people around him, the police and things, just weren't able to stop him. The court records show Bryce was previously arrested for DV and had a risk protection order filed against him that restricted his access to firearms. Law enforcement officials believe Bryce pew-pewed himself with a gun in at least 2 different instances, and Bradenton police described him as a significant danger. And now this is the part that kind of didn't really sit well with me, and I'm going to blame this on the fact that our community doesn't take mental health issues seriously. But this man clearly put a bullet in himself. We're going to see some clips later where he has like a big scar down his stomach. And my assumption there was just like, oh, maybe he was involved in something that got him shot. Maybe he fell, he was hurt, maybe it was a birth defect. But those scars that he was on his social media openly showing actually were self-inflicted wounds on himself. But it's actually a little spooky. So that he was able to do these things and still not be committed, no 5150s, nothing. Like he just literally was able to do this to him, and then they put an order against him as if that was going to stop him from getting firearms. Which is very strange. Bryce faced a domestic battery by strangulation charge in September after Bradenton police said he struck a woman in the face and placed her in a chokehold while she was in the passenger seat of his car. Now, this man was very violent, so for me, looking at his history, you could only expect that eventually he was going to get even more violent, right? He was violent against himself, he was violent against others, and really nothing was done. Betsy says, Flora, you got 1K subs. Congrats. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a couple days now, and I appreciate people sticking here, subscribe to my channel. But yeah, that just happened, so thank you much. But he had a very violent history already. Court records show these charges were later dropped. Now, how you can get a charge like that dropped, I'm assuming it's just by the person not wanting to cooperate. But why wouldn't they? Somebody slaps you up like that, puts you in a chokehold. I just don't know what it is that's making us think that these forms of violence are so normal. It's very sad, honestly. Sheriff Rick Wells said during a Tuesday morning news conference that the sheriff's office is aware of Bryce's court records and referenced the domestic strangulation charge that was dismissed. He added there's still much more that the agency needs to learn about Bryce's mindset leading up to Monday's shootings. As far as his mental state of being, I'm not really sure what kind of issues he may have dealt with in the past. We'll still be investigating all of that, Wells, who's a detective, said. Wells also said those same Palmetto Trace apartments where Bryce's first stop on a killing spree throughout Palmetto and Bradenton Monday night. So he literally went on a spree, but the only people that he was going after were his own family. And obviously some people who were closely associated with his family. Bryce went to the apartments where his sister and ex-girlfriend were intending to delete his ex-girlfriend, but Wells said his sister was able to talk him out of it. Now, I just don't get how you see that this man is bound to delete people. I'm not blaming them. I'm never going to blame the people who had to deal with this felonious bandit numerous times, but I mean, something should have been done at this point. Like, you just convince them to delete somebody, to not delete somebody. You should at least call the police. I don't know if they did call the police, but it took a while. But it just seems so strange to me. So, um, according to Wells, Bryce then went to a Motel 6 where he shot his mother 3 times, deleting her before deleting his cousin at a cookout in Palmetto and his ex-girlfriend's new partner at a house in Bradenton. So now this is where that mental health argument falls apart, right? Because if you are deliberately going from location to location to location, intending to delete people, um, this is the most self-centered thing that I've ever seen. Y'all make it hard to sympathize with what happened to the women by using the term black femicide to demonize black men as a whole. So first of all, black femicide in general, the term has nothing to do with black men. A lot of y'all just happen to be the ones that are 9 times out of 10 deleting black women. The term black femicide has to do with the fact that black women have to deal with femicide in general, but at 3 times the rate of any other group of women. But your conscience is what's making you feel that lack of sympathy, right? Because you know who it really is, but us saying it out loud, right? Us saying black femicide, it almost scares you into understanding that it's black men a lot of times who are doing it. Just like femicide that happens to white women is happening majority of the time by white men. It just is what it is. And I think your lack of sympathy doesn't have anything to do with the terms that we're using. Your lack of sympathy has to do with the fact that this is a very common issue that's not changing. And you guys aren't changing it. And y'all can get mad at me and say that I'm trying to bait and talk down on black men, but this has nothing to, the term black femicide has nothing to do with black men. It has to do with the fact that black women are majority of the times deleted, and deleted 3 times out at the rate of any other group of women. That's why we separate the term. Um, and if that's what it is, then that's who's doing it. So I can't help your conscience if your conscience is understanding that it's black men and you don't want me to say that. It's always going to be black men because that's the majority of what black people, black women deal with. You don't have to be mad at what the truth is. You have to understand it and try to change it. You shouldn't be mad at the terms and saying, well, we can't have sympathy. You don't want to have sympathy. You don't care to. You'd rather protect the black man's image while y'all are out there deleting your women at 3 times the rate of any other group. So it is what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, and I'm definitely not going to do anything for anyone's feelings here. This is just the facts. This guy he deleted his mother, the person who brought him into this earth. He deleted his cousin, whom he was allegedly having a sexual relationship with. And he deleted somebody who had nothing to do with this, who was the partner of somebody involved. Well, you don't care. Because at the end of the day, if black men are the ones who are doing it, then you shouldn't have a problem saying that. Now, black men are definitely not the only ones deleting black women. Unfortunately, everybody deletes us. But if you can't even handle the conversation just because black men are part of the equation, then there's nothing that I can do to help you. You don't want to hear this shit. Facts. They want to keep us silent. Yeah, they don't want us to talk about it because if we tell the truth, then they have to admit the fact that they're deleting their women more than any other group. That they want us to be loyal and bow down and respect them, but they can delete us at literally 3 to 4 times the rate that any other group of men deletes their women. So there's nothing I can do to preserve your feelings. You're just going to have to be butthurt about this one. But the fact still stands. Deputies with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office in North Florida deleted Bryce in a shootout near the Georgia state line early Tuesday morning after Wells said Bryce exited his vehicle and opened fire on them. So, I mean, when I hear of stories of men, getting out of a vehicle and purposely shooting at police officers, to me that sounds like homicide, right? That sounds like you know what you're doing. You get out your vehicle and you're shooting like this, they're going to shoot back, and you're not going to win. So it seems like the man was obviously in a mental crisis, although that is not an excuse for actionably getting in a vehicle and going to 3 separate locations and deleting black women. There is no excuse for that. But court records show that Bradenton police previously flagged Bryce as posing a significant danger of causing personal injury to himself or others by having a firearm or any ammunition in his custody or control. The agency filed a risk protection order. So Even though the women who he harmed dropped their cases against him, dismissed it, whatever the case may be, probably due to intimidation, the police still went out of their way to file a risk protection order against him in 2021. But unfortunately, it expired. They were only able to keep that up for 2 years because nobody else was willing to either put this man behind bars or get him help. And that's the really sad part here. The order came after officers said Bryce posted a cryptic message on Facebook that said, "I love my babies and that a lot of people don't know what I've been through." The post also asked his family to look after his kids and raise them while saying it was a fun run and sharing the password to his phone. So he's clearly been crying out for help, which again, as soon as you take actions to harm other people, I don't care what you're crying about. But he was crying out for help, and instead of just going to seek it or asking somebody for help, he chose to take other people's lives. Bryce also made a string of similarly bizarre social media posts Monday as he appeared to post updates as he deleted his loved ones, according to the sheriff's office. So this guy had no empathy, no sympathy. He was just at a point of not even being human almost. By Tuesday morning, those posts racked up thousands of likes, comments, and shares. About 10 minutes after he made the Facebook post in 2021, police said they found Bryce with a gunshot wound to the left side of his abdomen that they believed was self-inflicted. Officers say Bryce had to be restrained and taken to HCA Florida Blake Hospital for treatment. So I don't know what happened at that hospital, but obviously it didn't work. Obviously the treatment didn't take. He didn't. He wasn't kept there, and he was released at some point. When questioned by police, officers say Bryce told them he had gone to his mother's residence in Brandon Village, but his mother did not answer the door or let him in when he knocked. Bryce said when he returned to his vehicle and retrieved his revolver, a Rossi .38 special, because he has younger siblings, but detectives said it was 3 a.m. in the morning. So he went to her residence and she didn't answer or let him in. And then he returned to his vehicle and got a revolver because he was worried about young people being there. I don't know. All of this just seems so crazy to me. Obviously, it's very new. We're going to have to wait to get some more details about this, maybe to hear from some family members. But this seems like a really sick instance. Sheriff Wells said at a press conference that the gun used in Monday's deletions was a .38 revolver. Bryce told police that while getting in the car and trying to put the gun away, he accidentally shot himself, according to documents. But investigators say the injury location indicated that the firearm would have had to be held straight and not fired accidentally. Bryce's sisters told police she also learned that Bryce sent text messages to his kid's mother asking them to take care of his kids if something happened to him that night. Bryce told his sisters that he knew he was going to get shot that night, but would not elaborate how. Detective says she told them Bryce just wants to be with his granddad and best friend, who both previously died. Detectives said they learned from Bryce's sister that he'd been at a party that night of the incident where he'd been drinking, and that he often gets emotional while he's under the influence of alcohol. Hey, Travel One, how you doing? I'm currently covering a case for anyone who's just popping in here. I realized I got to it super quick after I got my surroundings in order, but this is about the man in Florida who recently deleted 3 Black women, one of them being his mother. So let's continue. Following his treatment at the hospital, Bryce was placed under a Baker Act and taken to Suncoast Behavioral Center. A judge later approved a risk protection order barring his access to firearms. That order expired in August, according to records. Bryce's sisters told detectives a similar incident happened years ago in Georgia. In 2018, Bryce shot himself but claimed someone else did it. Yeah. Sheriff Wells said Bryce was on his way to Georgia Tuesday morning intending to delete a 4th person, possibly an ex-girlfriend. Instead, Wells said Bryce encountered deputies Hamilton County near the state line who fatally shot him after he opened fire. An investigation into the triple homicide was ongoing. So this story was originally published on June 27th at 5:50 a.m. So this all just really happened. And there's a lot of news sources, but the information is obviously still developing, so there's a lot that we don't know yet. But it seems like this demonic bandit was going through some sort of emotional turmoil, right? Demons that he calls on his own, and he was looking to take other people out. And when it comes to mental health, I'm not going to blame this on mental health, but I'm going to say this. a lot of the times when people don't get the help that they need, they often spiral. They often get worse. Their condition gets worse. So now, while you can't blame what he did on mental health, I think the problem is he wasn't taking treatment serious. Maybe he didn't have the right supports, whatever the case may be. He clearly was mentally ill. He was still on the streets for some reason. He still was able to be around people and things like that because we just brush off these mental issues. To be clear, I think his behavior is reprehensible. Well, that should be the only thing the conversation is about. It shouldn't be your feelings on black men at this point, because this was an individual. But now that we've read some of the actual facts of the case, I'm going to move on to the YouTube video that covered it. Now, I want to give credits because anytime I cover things like this, a lot of the times I have to go to people who do the great work of putting together all the information to make the story a little clearer. So I'm going to give shout outs to to Twisted Crimes. And they, in this story, they talked about this man and they sort of mentioned some other theories as to why he did what he did. Now, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, there was rumors, or it's believed that he was having a sexual relationship with his cousin, his biological cousin. And so a lot of this, and as well as him being down low, is what they believe triggered his actions. So let's get into this YouTube video. This one, I'm going to be real, I didn't get the chance to listen to all of it. As you guys can see, I was watching it. I got up to maybe 8 or so minutes, and I decided I wanted to get the facts of the case before I showed it. But there's also some valuable information here. So let me just make sure that I put my banner up in case anyone tries to think that I'm just stealing people's content. Let's see here. Sorry, fair use for educational review purposes. Any information I usually have here, that will be the purpose of it. But let's get into it.
15 reasons why I love you. 1, I love you. 2, I love you. 3, I absolutely love you. 4, I love you for refilling my home with every flower filled with love.
This is the very tragic story of 3 beautiful ladies who were shot and killed by someone they trusted. 28-year-old Javante Bryce shot his mother, Tidamisha Scott, age 48. He shot his ex-girlfriend Cheryl Carter, age 31, and later shot and killed his blood cousin Sequoia Jonkila Bryce, age 29, which some people think he was having an affair with.
Life is so beautiful. And what makes it so beautiful is when you look me in my eyes and you told me that you love me. And I lied and told you I accept that love.
He killed all this people within a time frame of 2 hours. He was said to have done this for either of 3 reasons. He was exposed to be a down low man. He was
Thank you, Travel One, for the congratulations. I'm very excited, and I've been trying to work very hard, and you all have rewarded me with 1,000 subs. So again, thank you very much to the 1,000 subscribers from my channel. I appreciate you guys and your help here. And I hope that my channel continues to grow as I focus on content that is near and dear to my heart. All right, let's get right back into it. So that was what I had mentioned a little earlier, where they talked about him having those. I talked about him having those scars down his chest and things like that, due to what I thought could have been anything else. Apparently, those injuries are actually related to some of the mental breakdowns that he had in the past, where he shot himself. So let's continue. And thank you, TMKC. I appreciate you guys. Let's get into it.
And I lied and told you I accept that love.
He killed all this people within a time frame of 2 hours. He was said to have done this for either of 3 reasons. He was exposed to be a down low man. He was caught sleeping with his blood cousin, and maybe because of his mental state.
Oh, you didn't tell me all that. Ooh.
I got 5 on it, yeah.
Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories. Bradenton, Florida is a charming coastal city located on the Gulf of Mexico that offers a unique blend of natural beauty, cultural attractions, and recreational activities. Bradenton is said to have a total crime rate that is 3% lower than the national average per 100,000 residents.
And that's just also to to dispel some of the rumors, or not even rumors, but some of the things, attitudes that a lot of people have. You know, that sometimes they'll see these stories and be like, oh, that's hood shit, that's ghetto shit. They were probably this, they were probably that. No, it really doesn't matter what socioeconomic status Black women is. A lot of the times they can become a victim of femicide, you know, just by virtue of being attached to the wrong person. Obviously, this wasn't, you know, the best suburb in the world, but there were low crime rates. And, you know, his mother had a property there. I don't know what she was doing at the Motel 6. She might have been in between homes or things like that. But this was no ghetto drug crime or anything like that. Let's continue.
Gavin T. Bryce, age 28, is the center of this video. He studied at Savannah State University.
He love you too.
What's up? That's not Zoe. Bryce like shit. I know that.
Zoe.
After school, he didn't do much. He was said to be a poet, which most people felt like it was of him battling some demons in him.
My sadness grows as my trust fades away in the midnight dust. My love is enveloped.
So now here's my issue with this, Jesse. How do you demonize a demon? How do you demonize a demon? That's my problem. Nobody needs to demonize him. His own actions and behaviors towards his own people is what demonizes him. So before you guys come in here, getting your panties and your bussies in a bunch, perhaps you should listen to the story instead of getting triggered, right? Because the same spiel I gave Royce, I'm gonna give you too. I could give a fuck about how you feel about this. Okay?
Yearning for hope from the angels who dance freely in the waters of the oceans when sunset sets. Morning dew turns.
And it's crazy, people knew he was fighting demons, but they didn't do nothing to help him. You know, that's the sad part too. Like, this man went and terrorized 3 perfectly innocent people. And, you know, I'm going to leave that aside. We don't know the details of their intimate relationships with each other, but this demon was fighting demons, but he went and hurt other people. You don't get to hurt other people because you're hurting. There's no excuses for that. None. There are 0 excuses to hurt people just because you've been hurt before. That's not right. You know, so for me, it's like all these people saw him fighting demons, you know, but it seems like, what can you really do? What can you really do for someone who's so stuck in this mindset? You know, a lot of the times you see these type of people, they just feel sorry for themselves. They walk around moping and feeling sorry for themselves. The dude had a degree. I don't know if he ever finished his degree, but I mean, he went to school. What was he really feeling that he had to go and hurt 3 other people for? You know, and of course he ended up deleted, but not before he did a bunch of damage. You know, not before he deleted the person who brought him into the world. So I just don't know what this whole fighting demons thing is. Now, a lot of y'all need antipsychotics. You need mood stabilizers. You need anti-anxiety medication. And no, I'm not talking about weed. And I'm sick of the stigma, because at this point, it's like, what else do you say about this? You know, he clearly was a demon. I can't demonize him. His actions. He was a perfectly innocent man until he decided to hurt other people. And he had 12 kids, by the way.
Butterflies becoming angry due to the decreasing of dragonflies. I adorned the ornament of life until life stings like a hornet. Now my madness sings like a hurricane. My heart and brain filled with trauma and pain. Life is heavy and heaven is scary. What goes up must comes down. I am not a shooting star, but many people played my love like a guitar, while others listened while smoking their cigars. Wanted to slit and slice their throats and drive them.
The pineal gland has tiny little cilia, hair-like extensions all around it. When you hold your breath and you finally
into the Atlantic Ocean on a speedboat and watch them sink until they meet the slaves who built this ruined but still existing world. Soul going through every season of pain, but in a week I can't sleep. Didn't want to sleep aid. I'll accept the box of Band-Aids because life is temporary anyway.
Javanti dated different people and he had some children from those relationships.
Real since day one to the point I ain't never got to say nothing. That's why I call you my first lady. 10 years on the road, I know.
He was said to have been a sort of violent person because he had been arrested in the past for domestic violence, specifically strangulation. His mother, Titamisha Scott, age 48, was doing the best she could do for his loving son even when she realized he has some issues upstairs. At a point she moved into a hotel so she could be alone because Javanti was getting out of hand.
So this was actually, and yes, S. Jones, this is that guy. He did unalive 3 women, and one of them was a cousin that he was alleged to have a relationship with that was clearly inappropriate. But, you know, that's the thing that I was worried about too, right? Because I guess the first instance where he went and, you know, pew-pewed himself in the stomach, that was outside of his mother's house. You know, so this woman is literally staying somewhere just to get away from her psychotic son. And it is so sad that Black women have to be the ones, no matter how much help, no matter how much love and things that they're trying to pour into these kids that they have, they end up being at the other side of the gun. And it's just really sad to me. You know, I can't stomach some of these stories, but I just couldn't go without saying this one. It was just too much to just ignore and act like this didn't happen. But yeah, this is that case. So let's continue.
Yeah. On the beat, brother. No, you heard me? On the beat, brother. Yeah.
On the other hand, Javanti was dating someone by the name of Cheryl Carter, age 31. She was a very lovely person.
Because of Lambo, known to keep the bad addicted on commando.
She had kids she loved a lot. She cared for Javanti, but sometimes, she too could not handle him because of his domestic abuse and other things, so she had to let go. The last important person in this story is Sequoia Bryce, age 29, who was the cousin of Javanti. She was also the person why some people claim Javanti did what he did. Now getting into the actual story, Javanti was said to have been doing some weird things because he had been off his medications.
I asked the Lord to remove me, rebuild me, reaccept me. But the Lord told me he had to have a conversation with the devil before approval. So what do you think I look like to society? Society laugh at me. Society joke about me. So when I walk this earth, I'm laughed at. Laughed at from the deaf, from the blind, from the weak and the broken. So when you look at me, just please accept me.
And you know what gets me? It's like the thing about social media that's great and bad at the same time. The one thing that's annoying is that it can be used for great things, right? You can really get the messages out. You can connect with great people. You can learn things. But then there are some people who use the internet as a fucking medium for their psychotic delusions. I mean, I don't even know what he's saying. I don't know what he's talking about. He sounds fucking insane. And I'm not saying that to try and disparage the dude, but come on. Come on. Like, the people around him, for me, your people, you got to take care of your people. I'm not going to go out here and say Black people just got to save every Black person they see in a mental crisis, but you got to take care of your own fucking people. His mother could only do so much. The fact that she was taking care of this by herself and she ended up being the first victim of his is sick. You know, it's like people feel no responsibility for these people that they see crashing out every day. Everyone just turns their head and hopes that they're not one that has to deal with this. But this is just sick. And to know he's openly on social media just talking this bullshit and nobody sees that. You know, I'm going to blame his people for not for what he did, but for not checking on dude, for not sending him away, for not calling police, for not going a 5150 on this dude. Like, he clearly needed to be locked up. That's what I see here. Clear as day. These dudes get online and try to demonize all black women off some balloon popping. But when we try to do, exactly, Carmen, but when we try to have a real conversation about the demons that walk amongst them, right, that we're not going to be able to recognize every single one of them. Oh, now they don't want to talk about it. Now it's too much. Now we're just demonizing the black man. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of it. So this story just happened. This just happened on the 27th, which is a couple of days ago. Or I guess it just finished off on the 27th. But this happened Monday, I believe, of this week. So I think a lot of the information is still developing. I don't know how much of it we're going to get in this video because I didn't finish the video before I decided to add it into this. But this is still a developing story. It's fairly new. So I'm sure a lot of that information is going to come up as the weeks go by. They want to make sure you are miserable or worse. That's kind of what it seems like because like Carmen said, he was on his way to delete a fourth victim, right? We saw that in the article too. He was literally trying to go back to Georgia where in 2018, he had similar dealings like this where he was shooting himself, trying to shoot other people. Just really a deranged man. And it seems like people just kind of hope that it wasn't them that had to deal with him.
For who I am. Because if you cannot accept me, what's life? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Just love me.
Javante started posting some weird stuffs on social media. He started by saying, I maybe broken hundreds of women hearts, but I'll never break y'all hearts. I love you so much. Both y'all first words were dada. Then he posted another one saying, the only relationship I know I'll never lose is with the Lord. Next he posted this about his cousin. I love you bae Koya Bryce, see you in hell. Referring to his ex-girlfriend, he said this, pig I love you but you had to go. After posting all this, Javante started what would end up becoming a killing spree. He drove to an apartment where his sister and one of his ex-girlfriends stayed.
How do you not call somebody like this a demon? All right, literally using social media as a medium for his psychosis. And yes, they say he was off his meds, but the dude was deranged. This is nothing else besides a demon. What happened to his stomach? He has shot himself multiple times. So again, I don't know how he was walking free. I don't know how people were comfortable being around him. It just, a lot of us are really normalize violence and aggression like this from these type of dudes because of all the shaming and not allowing people to talk about things like this. So yeah, he's definitely a demon. But let's continue.
When he saw her, he looked at the ex-girlfriend and said, I have to kill you. Somehow the sister was able to talk him down and talk him out of him shooting this ex-girlfriend. After that he drove to a Motel 6 in Bradenton where his mother, his two young sisters and the mother's boyfriend were staying. That was the place his mother was staying because they had to give him space due to his mental state. He walked into that hotel room, looked at his mother and said, I'm sorry. She asked, what did you do? And he shot her 3 times in front of the boyfriend and these 2 innocent young juveniles. After that he drove to a house in Palmetto where one of his cousins, Sequoia, was at a cookout. Upon sighting Javante, she tried to get into her car but he shot her and she was pronounced dead an hour later. Javante then drove to a home in Bradenton where one of his ex-girlfriend, Cheryl Carter, lived with her new partner. He shot and killed her right there and then.
Wow, I just built the most amazing workflow on Monday.com.
You build your own workflow? Why?
So he planned on driving to Georgia to kill another ex-girlfriend, but at the time the police had issued a be on the lookout bulletin for Javante's car. When police pulled Javante over at about 1:30 a.m. in Hamilton County, Javante got out of the car and started firing at officers. The officers returned fire, killing him on scene.
Thank you for joining us tonight. 3 women were murdered in a shooting spree in Manatee County.
And the man responsible killed in a shootout with deputies near the Florida-Georgia line. The shootings happened in 3 different locations in Palmetto, Bradenton, and outside city limits in Manatee County.
News Channel 8's Marilyn Parker joining us live tonight in Manatee County with an update on the story. Marilyn.
Well, this is where the shooting spree started. And right before that, there were concerning posts on Facebook from Javante Bryce's account. And investigators say it's going to be an important part of figuring out the motive. Disturbing social media posts from the man deputies accused of killing his mother, cousin, and another woman Monday night. The sheriff says what 28-year-old Javante Bryce put on Facebook will be important in their investigation. At 8:53, he posted love. And shortly after 9, deputies say he shot and killed his mother, Tatimaisha Scott, at a Motel 6. At 9:36, Bryce posts, I love you, bae, tagged his cousin, then said, see you in expletive. 4 minutes later, deputies were called to a shooting in Palmetto where they found Bryce's cousin, Sequoia Bryce, shot in an SUV. She later died. Kimberly Welcome Williams with the Hope Family Services says these posts are all red flags and should alert people everywhere.
Don't stay quiet. Speak up. Reach out. Help your friends and family.
Had a history of domestic violence.
Javante Bryce died later that day in a shootout with deputies. But could the killing spree have been stopped? Well, tonight we are looking into Bryce's background. News Channel 8's Marilyn Parker joining us live from Manatee County with the story. And Marilyn, you've learned a little bit more about this man.
Yes, Javante Bryce had quite a few run-ins with law enforcement, and we're seeing a pattern in those court documents. But the question remains, could something have been done to prevent Monday night's tragic shootings? The father of 12 did something similar in 2021. According to this protection order, he posted on Facebook, I love my babies. A lot of people don't know what I've been through or going through, but it's the last straw. Then it says he shot himself. He was Baker acted. Attorney Jennifer Strove points out the protection order expired in 2023.
It's hard to say if that risk protection order would have actually helped in this situation. Unfortunately, there are not a lot of long-term resources for someone for mental health help.
Danielle Wondrak is the program manager at Blue Butterfly Family Grief Center. We spoke with her knowing there are children and families impacted by this tragedy.
It's okay to remember the good times we had with that person, and it's still okay to be mad at them for the bad choice that they made. And over time, we have to use that as an example of, this isn't behavior that we want to use again.
This is where
Yes, Northern Bell, unfortunately, he was a father of 12. So this is why a lot of times that I say that in our community, we're very normalized to violence, right? A partner like this, a lot of people will turn their backs and say, well, if they're dealing with them, that's their business. If they're with that person, that's their business. And they will know that this person is a violent, crazed maniac. He was unfortunately a father of 12. He likely passed on his mental health issues. I hate to say it, y'all. He likely passed on his mental health issues because they didn't seem just trauma related, for someone to constantly, and I'm not going to act like I can speak, right? I can't necessarily say why he would do such things. But he seemed very coherent with his actions and what he was doing. His posts say so. He wrote love and then went and deleted his mother. There's no way to put together what was going through in his mind. But the fact that he has 12 kids just tells me that we have poor boundaries. I'm sure that Black people, a lot of times try to pray away things when really they should be trying to medicate people or try to get them some help. Like, I know a lot of us fear, the system and things like that, but some people aren't suitable to be part of real life. They're not suitable, certainly not suitable to be a parent of 12 children, so it's really unfortunate. And it's funny, these type of demons always have a bunch of kids. Always. It's never somebody who is mentally stable. It's always these demonic or felonious or it's ridiculous. But let's continue.
Where the motive started coming into play. A lot of people said he was sleeping with his cousin, who later discovered him to be gay. It was why he referred to her as bae in the social media post. They believed it was obvious in some of his social media posts.
Oh, you didn't tell me all that. I got 5 on it. Yeah.
I heard about Brandy first when I was in 7th grade.
The reason why I liked it, because everyone else
He can be seen messing around with some studs and some men. A comment on his page reads, "Who is the stud in the picture with him? He really wasn't into women," and his page clearly shows that. Another post on his page reads, "Sad to say, but this happens a lot. Most of these men that are down low don't want to live in their truth but still want to live double lives. It's crazy, and how can you get mad at someone else because of what you prefer?" Some also said it was because he was off his medication. That was why he kept posting weird poems on social media. This one talked about him mentally sick and also being gay. It reads, "You were mentally sick. I seen a lot of people say it was because they found out you were gay. That's your choice, but the extent you went shows it's more than that. Pure evilness." Police stated this in the briefing. "We don't know what set this man off. We don't know why he chose to kill his loved ones. We may never know, but we're going to continue to investigate."
So we believe initially that this all started sometime before 9 o'clock when Mr. Bryce traveled to the Palmetto Trace apartments in Palmetto, in the city of Palmetto. Inside one of those apartments was his sister and of one of the many. When he walked into the apartment, he looked at the ex-girlfriend and said, "I have to kill you." Somehow the sister was able to talk him down and talk him out of him shooting this ex-girlfriend. She later told investigators that he was acting very strange, not really sure what was going on with him. At 9:17 p.m., we know that he traveled to the Motel 6 in East Bradenton. Inside one of those rooms was his mother, his mother's boyfriend, and two young juvenile sisters. He walked into that hotel room, looked at the mother and said, "I'm sorry." She asked, "What did you do?" And he shoots her 3 times in front of the boyfriend and these two innocent young juveniles. He then travels into Palmetto to the 900 block of 26th Street East. One of his cousins was at a cookout at this residence. She's starting to get into her vehicle to leave. He then shoots her at that location. She later dies about an hour after this shooting at a local hospital. We then have him traveling into the city of Bradenton over the Green Bridge. And at roughly 10:04 p.m., he travels to a location in the city of Bradenton, the 4800 block of 51st Street East. This is a residence where another ex-girlfriend lives and her now new partner. So at this point, we now have 3 homicide scenes and also an ag assault scene at Palmetto Trace. Investigators are constantly getting information. We know right away that the suspect is Javante Bryce. The family has been very cooperative. They tell us exactly what's going on. We find out that he possibly has another ex-girlfriend in the state of Georgia and that he's now traveling to that state to kill her. We put out a statewide BOLO. Luckily, sheriff deputies with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office spots the vehicle that Mr. Bryce is driving. They stop him. He immediately gets out of the car and starts firing upon them. They return fire, shooting and killing him there in Hamilton County. And that's where everything ends.
So many opinions, but we might not know for sure what could have triggered him into doing what he did. A GoFundMe was set up. Our sincere condolences to the friends and families of all the victims. It is so unfortunate. Some kids end up without their mother due to one person's actions. We wish them the best in life. May the souls of the departed continue to rest in peace. Please stay safe out there. See you guys in the next video.
All right, so that was the kind of facts of the case. Obviously, I don't expect people to support these types of conversations. You guys don't really enjoy when I come on here and give the truth. But if anybody would like to support my conversation, what we talked about today, feel free to send me a Cash App. You can also send a super chat. Even after the show, you can do that as well. But I just want to open it up and get you guys' thoughts on this. You know, where are we at with femicide? Obviously, we cannot lie anymore and say that it's not happening. We can't hide from it. You know, but when are we actually going to have a real conversation and actually try to change things with this issue? You know, when are people going to actually stand up and, you know, do something about the issues that we're having as a community? Because it's clear as day that mental health is being ignored. You know, people are very, very numb to violence, domestic violence especially, in our community. And Black women are just sort of left to hope that they are not at the end of somebody's violent tirade. So if anyone has any thoughts, I dropped the link for you all. If not, I'm probably going to get out of here with this one. But if you guys would please, after I end the video, leave a comment, leave a like, share, subscribe, anything that you'd like to do, I would greatly appreciate it. But I wanted to make sure I did an obligatory conversation like this at least once in a while, even though I know it's not the most popular content and it gets literally little to no support. I would appreciate if you guys could at least engage with the video and things like that after it's over. But if nobody's interested in giving any thoughts, any you know, sort of pushback to the narrative here that I've been giving with this conversation, then feel free to just like this on the way out. And yeah, I'll see you all on the next one. All right. Thank you much.